Good morning, everyone, to this YIT forum. And I'm Smita Pragya. So I welcome you all to this Sunday morning session. So first of all, we will start our universal invocation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is therefore one with every other. Let's observe silence for a couple of minutes. Welcome back. So, good morning again. And today's our topic is, this is a symposium and interactive section. So, a world religion by Besant. And there are three speakers, and the speakers are Sister Kritika Goel, Sister Shruti Goel, and Brother Harnath Modukuri. So, our first speaker is Sister Kritika Goel. So, Sister Kritika is an engineering graduate who has pursued her BTech in mechatronics from Banasthali Vidyapit, Rajasthan. She is a native of Ghaziabad and a young member of Prayas Theosophical Lodge. She was introduced to Theosophy through Sister Subhralina Mohanty. She is her mentor. She is a trained classical dancer. She likes to travel around the world and explore new things. She is a quick learner and enthusiast who likes to participate in public speaking and debates. She has participated in youth camp at Bhavali and actively taken charge of coordinating camps and events of younger members and anchoring of meetings. She is a regular facilitator and moderator in Young Indian Theosophists group, and she has given talks and moderated meetings at various lodges, including the Indian section. So let's welcome Sister Kritika. Over to you, Sister.
Thank you, Sister Smita. So, as you all know, that today's topic is World Religion by Besant. So, I'll take the first part and my co-speakers will take further the next parts. Among the many names with which the love and reverence of man have appealed to the Supreme Being, there is none perhaps more full of significance, none whose implications are more important than the well-known Masonic title, the great architect of the universe. He's not just the one who has built the entire structure, but also the one who has planned it. It is just that we see it differently as different individuals. Consider this like a kaleidoscope with a limited number of pieces inside it, but every time the viewer looks at it, a different pattern is visible. Everything is planned. Where you are going to take birth, which family, which nation, which locality, which house number, everything. Why did Christ take birth in Bethlehem only and not in India? Imagine Lord Ganesh and his stories being preached by Americans. Would they take him as seriously as Indians had? Would they be able to relate it as equally as we do? No. Because such incidents are easy to relate for us and not for them. At the same time, though we haven't read as religiously as the Christians have read about or studied about the Christ and Christianity, but still many of us, I'm sure many of us, celebrate Christmas with the same enthusiasm as the Christians do, right? You see, everything is planned. Even the birth of noble men, even the birth of maybe God Himself. There are many ways of reading history. Sometimes in the school, a mere mass of dates, names, titles, utterly uninteresting, a matter of memory and not of thought, is given to us as history. But that is not history. Usually, not many of us actually thoroughly go through history, but only some specific individuals, maybe someone who is preparing for some examination or otherwise has just a little keen interest about the subject, goes through it deeply, but even that person doesn't unveil it in its deepest sense. You only begin to understand the fascination, the enthralling interest of history when you see the events on earth as the projections thrown down to the earth of spiritual realities in higher and mightier worlds. When you begin to see in the events of history the working of a mighty plan, the shaping of a great purpose, the carrying out down here of the thoughts conceived in the spiritual world, then your body becomes alive. Then the form takes on the attribute of the living man pulsing with life. Imagine a complete lockdown for maybe 30 or 40, 50 years. Will anybody know the concept of beyond family? Would we be able to relate to anybody, to any different individual, rather than what we have been seeing in a specific area from a very long time? We actually look back and we realize that how different was the world back then. If we look back in time, then yes, we see technological differences, the advancements which we have today, they were not there. Maybe some of the resources were not there. But if we look back further, in many, many, many years ago, then we realize that people weren't even aware of the cultural differences or similarities they shared. They didn't even know about the different thoughts, about the difference in lifestyle, about the difference in religion, about the difference in fooding, in clothing, in daily habits. It took time to know about the different beads of the thread. And then there you have the beginning, the foundation of the science called comparative mythology. Whenever we go out, we surely bring some impression back, either in our mind or maybe some new habit we develop. If we are being taught about the primitive man who had their own way of living, then the motive for the same is not just showing, but our growth, our civilization. Civilization is a steady process. According to James D. Fraser, he highlighted three elements in development of human psyche and spirit, of evolutionary thinking of his time. He says, first, it was the magical stage. When people were aware about the magic, the black magic maybe, then came the religious stage. And then the magical stage somewhat faded away. Then the religious stage was the hero. And then the current stage, that is the scientific stage. Imagine 200 years back, somebody saying about time travel, then that person would definitely be called as a foolish person. But today, that person is called as intelligent person who might create this magic, right? And as science has supplanted its predecessors, it may also be superseded by some more perfect hypothesis, perhaps by some totally different way of looking at phenomena of which we in this generation have no idea about. Religion was born with the ideas with which people could relate. The aim, you see, was not to separate people, but to unite them in that era, in that state of mind. Eventually, every educated man knows something of the sacred literature of the Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, about Jainism, of the Chinese. And now today, we have the books, we have internet, we have social media, and so many other platforms to enrich the knowledge, which nobody had earlier. Different religions are like the different notes of orchestra, each with a different purpose, but each carrying its own importance. Those who accept the change with time can only evolve. I would like to share a short story. One day, an elderly postman knocked on door of a house and said, "Take the letter, please." As soon as he said this, a little girl's voice echoed from inside. "I am coming now, please wait." But even after 5 minutes, no one came, and the postman again asked, to which the girl replied, "Uncle, if you are in a hurry, put the letter under the door. I am coming, and it will take some more time." The old postman replied, "No, I am waiting. It is a registered letter, so I need some signature." After about 10 minutes, the door opened. Postman was very angry about the delay. He was about to shout at the girl, but as soon as the door opened, he was shocked to see that in front of him was a little handicapped girl who had no legs. Postman quietly gave the letter, took the signature, and left. Little girl often lived alone in her house, as her mother was not in this world and father used to work far away. To take care of the girl, maid used to stay in the house, but only in morning and evening. During the day, the girl was all alone. In a month or two, whenever the mail came, postman would knock, call for the girl, and then wait patiently at the door. Gradually, interaction and attachment grew between them. The girl noticed that the postman used to come barefoot to deliver mails. Rainy season came. One day, when postman left after giving the letter, that day his footprints were left on the wet soil. The girl came out with the paper and put it on print and took down picture of his feet. Next day, she asked her maid to get shoes of that size and keep them in the house. Before Diwali was about to come, postman went to houses he used to deliver mail to ask for Diwali gift. But when he thought about the girl, he started thinking it wouldn't be right to ask anything from her. He also thought that he should gift something to that girl. So he bought a small chocolate. Next day, he went to the girl's house, knocked the door, and when the girl opened the door, he handed her chocolate and said, "This is a small gift from your uncle's side." Girl was very happy. And she then asked the postman to wait for some time. And after a while, she bought a big box and handed it to the postman. She said, "Uncle, this is a gift from my side to you on Diwali." Postman was surprised to see the box. And after thinking for a while, he said, "You are like a daughter to me. I can't take this gift." But the girl insisted. After going home, when he opened the box, he was surprised to see that there were a pair of shoes in it. Postman couldn't believe that little girl was so concerned about him. Next day, he reached post office and pleaded the postmaster that he should immediately be transferred to another area. When the postmaster asked the reason, he told him everything and said with wet eyes, "Sir, after today, I will not be able to go to that street. That little girl saw my barefoot and gave me shoes. But How will I be able to give her feet? Saying that, postman burst into tears. To feel pain of others and to understand their suffering is such a human quality without which humans are incomplete. I would also like to share a video with you all. If I can share my screen. Yes.
Once upon a time.
Is it audible?
Yes.
So this is the rabbit and the tortoise story. You all must have heard about this. So let's see a different version this time.
A turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race, emerging as the undisputed champ. The rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well.
So now I'll leave you all to introspect and think about this. Here I end my part. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Kritika. And it was a very nice story, actually. And your talk was so good as always. So thank you so much. And our next speaker is Sister Shruti Goel. She is a young member of Prayas Theosophical Lodge and is currently pursuing BTech in Computer Science from Vanasthali Vidyapit, Rajasthan. She is a talented girl with excellent skills in dance as well as art and craft. She has delivered talks in various lodges and has conducted several meetings. So let's welcome Sister Shruti. Over to you, sister.
Thank you so much, Sister Shruti, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Now we move towards the second part. So we all regularly hear Hindu, Muslim, Parsi, Buddhist, Jain. But if we talk about the individual, the singular, then the one life in all means the brotherhood of many. If we take God as the ultimate entity and realize that God is seen in everything, then only we will feel that all the lives belongs to that single life. If we see every religion per se, then as Dr. Miller sums up, Hinduism as the proclamation of immanence of God and solidarity of man. As Sister Kritika said that all religions are different with the purpose. Then from Parsism comes out the note of purity, purity of thought, of word, of deed. And Buddhism gives right knowledge, right understanding, right thinking. Everything in this world has a uniqueness, a different belief or value, yet so meaningful in its own way. Greek speaks of beauty, and Rome speaks of law. Egypt about science, and Christianity gives a message of self-sacrifice. Judaism about righteousness, and so on, one after another. So basically, every religion has its special idea that it gives to the religion of future end. It's like religion is a great necklace of jewels placed around the neck of humanity, each complementing one another. Be it any religion, but the essence it brings, the values it preaches to mankind, the way it appeals, such diversity in all the religions, or rather great religion, fulfill the great religious law and hence make the world religion. There may be many sects in Christianity, but all look up to the Christ as the supreme teacher and accept his gospel as the foundation of their message. For surely, diversity is the very condition of the universe and of all its beauty. The intellect can divide the truth in multiple parts, but only the spiritual truth may shine out for helping and teaching of man. Let's understand this concept with a great drama played on the stage of the world, familiar to you all, the life of Christ. A life led in the face of the world, great, inspiring, noble, but only a single life. However divine, with a single life's contents. There have been many controversies and arguing of scholars about the authenticity of the documentation, how long this manuscript has existed or discovered perhaps in some church ruins, some ancient monastery. But we all agree that the Christ story is a myth, is entirely out of court. Now, here we are talking about a single life, a man known as Christ living preaching in the streets of Palestine, however divine that his life became, the history which had the most enormous effect upon the mankind. His life shines out in parables and drama. It is the story of the experience of every human spirit as he unfolds from seed to flower and fruit. To be precise, he lived the story of all mankind. Everyone could relate their situations, everyone could connect their lives and their stories with his life and his experiences. Christianity started around the 1st century after the resurrection of Jesus. He was a Jewish teacher, and his followers believed that he was the Son of God himself. Christianity is the religion that is based on birth, life, death, resurrection, and teaching of Jesus Christ. This makes Christianity unique. All the religions exhort or strongly encourage man to reach to God and seize hold of him through his work and effort. Whereas Christianity is a relationship with God. Christianity says that instead of us reaching for God, God is searching for us. Instead of us reaching up to God, God is reaching down to us. That is why Jesus is so important, because he came down from heaven to do all for what they could never do for themselves. The birth of Christ in Bethlehem stands for the birth of Christ in everyone who is rising into realized divinity. If one believes that God is everywhere, then in every human spirit, he begins to seek growth in favor with God and man. He sees him risen and ascended in the man who has attained the full stature of Christ. In the world of construction and destruction, this mystical story unites mankind. It is true for all the men of every faith, true for all their upward climb, true for all in their realization of divinity within themselves. And then it became an inspiration, the most potent that man can have for realizing the unity. Christianity was born from within the Jewish tradition, and Islam developed from both Christianity and Judaism. While there have been many differences among these religions, there was a rich culture in interchange between Jews, Christians, and Muslims that took place in Islamic Spain and over centuries. The oneness of God is referred to in the Old Testament, and Jesus also reminds his followers of the importance of believing in only one God. The oneness of God is a central Christian belief, as it reflects the oneness of the universe God created. Christians believe that the universe follows one set of laws. As for the word of Christ, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. For a man that is only man, that command must remain forever unfulfilled. But for a man in whom the seed of God is sown, there is no perfection impossible for him as he passes from strength to strength. Life is a movement from imperfection to perfection. When inanimate objects become animate, there is a progress. There is further progress when animate beings become more and more complicated structures. The human being is the highest being, the most perfect in structure. The human being is thus perfected animal. But this is the beginning of progress for humanity. Humans still have to achieve further physical, intellectual, and spiritual perfection. Movement towards perfection, God, is a human's true nature, his dharma. Movement towards imperfection is against one's true nature, adharma. No movement is free from friction or obstacles. Even when we walk, the force of gravity obstructs us. Movement towards perfection is obstructed by all the forces of imperfection, of evil. The sinful, the crude, the narrow obstruct all movement for the expansion of human mind. But perfection, being a Godward movement, we should not be afraid and we must move on. Obstructions will go down the drain where they belong. We will progress. The mission of human life is to move towards perfection, towards God. This is one's duty. In this struggle, the forces of evil are bound to be defeated. This has been the case all along, and the history will repeat itself. We have no right to rest until we have fulfilled our mission of being perfect, of being divine, of establishing ourselves in perfection. From one of the viewpoints, the supreme power is the external savior of the grateful, the helper. But there is an uneasy feeling that we do not realize for ourselves. We need the third party for help, but in the mystical view of atonement, with the birth of Christ in the human spirit, it is a Christ within instead a Christ without. As we gradually rise from carnal to spiritual and begin to realize the possibilities that lie latent in the spiritual, that is man, we shall lead our own history. We all shall learn from every faith the special view it has to teach, and so widen our minds, enlarge our hearts, and deepen our reverence for the greatness of the truth. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sister Shruti. And it was a nice and crisp talk. So thank you so much. And our next speaker is Brother Harnath Madhukuri. So he has completed his MBA and he has experience of more than 8 years in sales and HR. He worked with different corporate companies. His last company was Prion Business Services Private Limited. So he is presently a member of Ananda Lodge, Tadepalli Gudem. So let's welcome Brother Harnath.
Thank you.
Brother, over to you.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Thank you. So you may say, are you against religious dogma? No. So dogma has its place in all teaching of truth. Science has its just as much as religion. It is quite dogmatic to say that if you put hydrogen and oxygen together at certain temperature, they will combine. A statement of truth imposed by authority from outside. That is what dogma is. And any such statement of truth is necessary for learning and for teaching. That is what critics of religious dogma very often forget. But a dogma not to be mischievous. Must be based on experience and verifiable by experience. And that is sometimes the weak point of religious dogma. But it ought not to be so. All the great religious dogmas are based on experience, though not on the experience of modern people. But that is the fault of modern people, not the fault of the dogma. Every great spiritual truth thrown into dogmatic form and imposed on the odd man by church or pope or book has its origin in human experience in relation to divinity. So here I would like to pose a question like if you take any scientist, can he go deep into the inner core of the earth? No, nobody can go, right? So only through the external evidences or these evidences that had been provided by the external sources, scientists assumed the inner possibilities or the inner structure of the earth. So in the same way, the religious people can can only tell about the dogmas based on their experiences. It is not that that is dogmatic false, but we we as a modern people are not able to experience what the previous ancient people has experienced. So we need to intelligently find out where the fault exists. So now there is no reason in the world why should not again be able to verify these truths for yourselves. As in a moment I will show you. But what I want to put to you now is the difference between the man who accepts the dogma and the mystic is this. The authority of the receiver of the dogma is outside him and he has no knowledge which verifies the dogma. But the mystic knows the truth by sight. The spirit has faculties as well as the body. When man has reached a certain stage of evolution, he needs no authority to teach him religious truth. For him, within the depths of his own spirit, there wells up the truth, which the other sees from outside, and an inner authority, and not the outer authority, reveals the truth. So here, the author wants to tell about, if you want to know what is exactly the truth, you can find it out from the inner. So here everybody will get a question like, what is truth exactly? Even very often I used to heard about the question like, what is truth? The moment I explained this is truth, certainly it is not, because it's my experience based upon my sensations, and all we know, each and every spiritual body has its different levels of capabilities, right? So based on my experience, I can explain this is true, but that is not for somebody else. Truth cannot be experienced because experience turns into memory, and memory makes you a second-hand person. Also, experiences are temporary and they are changeable. Truth cannot be explained, truth cannot be experienced, but truth is eternal. It is not changeable. Truth is not illusion. If we negate all the experiences, all the feelings, all the emotions, all the intelligence, all the knowledge which are limited in terms, then if we negate all these kind of limited sources, what remains is truth. That's the reason Theosophy has the motto called "No religion is higher than truth." So there is a need for every individual human being to find out what exactly this truth is, and it can be happen only by the turning to inner. Humans nowadays has been technologically, they had gone so ahead and far. Even man has reached the moon, but he is not able to turn inward. Outward, he has gone very far, but inwardly we are not able to see what exactly lies in a human being. We are not even trying to turn inward. That is the purpose of a religious mind. So every time I question myself, like, how can we form a nucleus of universal brotherhood without distinction, which is the object of philosophy? Every time I question this, how can we form this nucleus of universal brotherhood without distinction? Is it? It can only happen either by opposing the distinctions or by accepting the distinctions. In my opinion, both the ways are like the same sides of a one coin. If we oppose all the distinctions, that means you are creating a new distinction. And if you are accepting all the distinctions, again you are just pouring two glasses of water into another glass. So again you are making another distinction. So if you observe with your intelligence, with pure observation, with a great intelligence, and if you observe from the inner side, there should be no distinction at all. There would be no contradiction at all. There would be no conflict, because duality won't exist if you turn inward. Duality exists only when you are outward. When you have the distinction, like it is outward and the inward. When there is a distinction of outward and inward, there will be a conflict. So what I would like to say here is, if you turn inward, there should be no contradiction, there should be no conflict. Everything lies in you. So mysticism unites, whereas dogmatists quarrel. A few months ago, I was reading with some care a Roman Catholic treatise that any one of you might read with the greatest profit. If you care at all about the scientific side of mysticism, it is written by a Jewish father, and in the translation is called The Graces of the Interior Prayer. It has received the approval of the Pope and of some of the high officials of Roman Catholic Church. Now, in that book, at the end of it, in dealing with the union, the writer speaks of the deification of a man. Man becomes divine. The union between God and man, so close, so utter, that man is deified. Now, I confess, I was surprised to find a phrase so strong outside the theosophical, Hindu, and Buddhist traditions. I did not know the Rome would go so far in explaining what the end of the path connoted. And then I remembered that I ought to have known it. For one of the great teachers of the church, as Ambrose, gave the noble sentence, become what you are. So, if you see, he's telling, become what you are, not you are not. So, what it implies, there is a very beautiful sentence it is, become what you are. So, we always try to become something else, which lies outside. We want to achieve the higher levels. We want to achieve enlightenment. These are all lies in you. It's not there. Some outward. Everything lies in you. Once if you know what you are, that is called pure religious mind. That's why the Vedas or everything tells Aham Brahmasmi. So you are the God. Even the earliest Veda or Rig Veda didn't mention about any word of God. The Veda doesn't contain the word God. It only contains Aham, you are the God. So who invented this religion? If anybody knows, please type in the chat box what is religion and who invented this religion. There is no meaning for this religion. It shows different meanings if you search in the dictionary. So who invented this religion? Thought. Obviously, the thought has been invented this religion. It's not none other than the humans have invented this religion. When out of old religion has grown the old peace, when out of old faith has grown the old service, then religion shall be what it ought to be: the helper of the downtrodden, the protector of the weak, the teacher of ignorant, the riser of the fallen. Then religion will not only tie man to God, but man to man. And it will be realized that knowledge of God is best expressed in service to man. So here I would like to throw some ideas about like what is a religious mind. The views of JK. I would like to discuss on this. A religious mind is free to inquire. When a man is inquiring, he does not start out with a hypothesis, but he has a free mind. What implies a free mind? A free mind is a mind that is free from the known. It has a freedom from the known. It is freedom. It is free from the past. So when the mind is free, then only it starts inquiry. A religious mind has no authority. If you see the books like the Gita, the Bible, the Quran, all the sacred books have the authority over your mind. So a free mind should doesn't have any authority. If it have an authority, then it is not a free mind. So the beginning of religious mind is self-knowledge, not the knowledge of supreme self. A nationalistic mind, a mind that is begotten through fear, through compulsion, through imitation, through authority, how can that petty shallow mind try to find out what is supreme self? So the beginning to understand yourself as you are is the beginning of wisdom. Knowing yourself is the beginning of meditation. Knowing yourself psychologically as you are is the beginning of the religious mind. So a religious mind is a mind that has no belief, no dogma, no fear, no authority of any kind. Then that mind is a lie to itself. Such a mind, being free, can go very far. So For that reason, we all try to have this meditation. So for a religious mind, the meditation is nothing but to see what lies in you. The moment you turn inward, there should be no differences of religion. There should be no religious differences, or there should be no distinctions of beliefs. Nothing. It is the only thing where we need to understand or comprehend here is every human being, if he turn inward, automatically he will do a better service to the nation. Until unless if you see the outer world, that's what truth, right? You should have to understand the difference between truth and reality. Reality is outer, truth lies in the inner. Reality can make you, or reality can deviate you for illusions, because reality changes. Tomorrow you are real, but tomorrow it may be fake for me. So reality leads you to illusion, but truth never change. It is there. It is like a non-changeable entity. So thank you very much. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Brother Harnath. And thanks for the nice talk. And so thank you so much again. And thank you all the speakers. They all were very good. So now we are, now the room is open for discussion. So for the interactive session. So, so actually, as today's topic was, I have a question for all of you, for the speakers, that in your view, if there will be ever in future a world religion, what can it be?
So I would like to question you, what do you mean by religion? First, I asked the question.
That is what you have to answer it. What if there will be
There
any
is no
future
such
world
kind
religion?
of word called religion. There is no special meaning for that religion. If you search in the dictionary, it will throw you different meanings, like it rituals or tie up with something. These are all the dogmas or the principles or whatever, right? So there is no specific meaning for religion. For me, if you ask me what is religion, I can say turning inward is my religion, and turning inward is my religion. Okay. So if you turn inward, then you are religious, and that is religious mind, which is, I have explained clearly, like the mind which is free from the past, the mind which is free from the fear, the mind which is free from authority. Then it becomes, that is a religious mind. The mind which is always in fear will never find out the truth. A mind which is under authority or under the authority will never find out what is religion and what is truth. If it is a old religion, I think turning inwards is the old religion.
Brother Shikhar has raised hand.
Okay, okay. I would like to just share the word religion. It comes from if we go in the etymology. So it comes from religia, which means to bind. So actually, when anything is called religion, it means it is there to bring people together. That's a different thing that now, due to ignorance or due to misunderstandings of the scriptures, it has become the cause of separation between people and arguments and fights. That's a different thing. But actually it was meant, and in a way Brother Harnath actually said right, that turning within, because actually until unless we turn within, we do not understand the relationship with ourselves and with the others, and that is the purpose of religion. So I would say if ever there will be a world religion in future, it has to be love. So that was the thing I just wanted to share.
Shruti, Kritika.
For me, world religion should be like we have the medical kit, so it always solves our whatever physical wound we have. Similarly, world religion should be like that medical kit, not physical, but the mental, spiritual, emotional problems, which these days are not being solved, rather being um, created more and more. So the world religion should be like, which should take us all together. It should be like the torch which can lead us through the tunnel. This is what I feel. Thank you.
And as for me, I think world religion should be about accepting one another. Like we used to impose our thoughts, our ideas, our ideologies on others. But rather than imposing, we need to understand each other. Like what are their philosophy, their ideas. That is world religion for me. Like accepting each other in their own ways without changing their ways or mending their ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you, Harnath and Shruti. So I have one more question for you. What do you think a religion is? The dogmas, the superstitions, the philosophy, or something else?
So,
Anybody?
let me take this question. What is religion? I would like to show you the book, The Religious Mind by J. Krishnamurti. So here he explained very in an elaborate manner, like religion is something that includes everything. It is not exclusive. A religious mind has no nationality. It is not provincial. It does not belong to any particular organized group. It is not the result of 10,000 years of propaganda or 2,000 years of propaganda. It has no dogma. It has no belief. It is a mind that moves from fact to fact. It is a mind that understands the totality, the total quality of thought, not only the obvious superficial thought and educated thought, but also the uneducated thought, the deep down unconscious thought, and the motives. When a mind inquires into the totality of something, when it realizes through that inquiry what is false and denies it because it is false, then the totality of the denial brings about a new quality in that mind, which is religious and which is revolutionary. So if you see the whole thing, religion is nothing but having a belief, superstition belief, having a dogma is not a religion. Religion is something like it's a fact, moving from fact to fact. Religion is something like, I can say it is truth. Truth is religion. No religion is higher than truth. Again, the motto of Prithvi. So when mind inquires into this totality of this, then you will find out what is religion.
I believe that religion is like that cloud which washes out your problems. So initially, it is an idea like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, like some idea, something, some enlightenment came to Buddha, and then he thought that it would solve the problem of all the others. It became a religion. So it's a group of ideas that is basically created to solve the problems or help the people. This is what I believe.
Hello, can I share my views, Sushma Srivastava? But hello,
Yes, yes, Sushma ji.
but I will speak in Hindi now. Is it okay or not?
Okay.
Annie Besant has written in her book 7 Great Religions of the World, and she has said there are 4 aspects of religion. First, the preceptor of religion. Second, the ritualistic aspect of religion. Third, philosophical aspect of religion. Of fourth, mysticism, occult aspect of religion. I think this is very correct. The ritualistic aspect may be different, preceptor may be different, the philosophy may be different according to time and space, but mystical aspect, occultism is same in all the religion. So I think तो धर्म के संबंध में जो 2 विचारधारा है, सेमेटिक एंड इंडो यूरोपियन, तो जैसा कृतिका ने कहा कि क्यों नहीं जीसस क्राइस्ट क्यों बेथलेम में पैदा हुए, क्यों नहीं इंडिया में पैदा हुए, यदि गणेश का कॉन्सेप्ट वहां होता तो क्या होता। तो वास्तव में ह्यूमैनिटी जहां पर जिस लेवल पे थी उस लेवल पे उसको समझाने के लिए वैसे ही प्रिसेप्टर का जन्म हुआ, वैसे ही अकॉर्डिंग टू टाइम एंड स्पेस वो फिलॉसफी उन्होंने दी और डॉगमा दिए, क्योंकि हर लोग उस मिस्टिकल एस्पेक्ट को नहीं समझ सकते, उनके लिए रिचुअल जरूरी है। और एक समय ऐसा आता है कि वो डॉगमा और वो रिचुअल छूट जाते हैं, अपने आप छूट जाते हैं, और हम इस स्टेज पे पहुंच जाते हैं कि हम रिलीजन को का जो मिस्टिकल एस्पेक्ट है, हिडन एस्पेक्ट है, ऑकल्टिज्म है, वो हम समझने लगते हैं। तो हम किसी भी धर्म को एक तराजू में नहीं तोल सकते कि ये यही होना चाहिए। और दूसरी बात, जो कैसा रिलीजन हो, तो जैसा शिखर जी ने कहा कि रिलीजन ऑफ लव, लव फॉर ह्यूमैनिटी इज द मेन रिलीजन ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, Sushma ji. So, Shruti.
For me, religion is a way to find ourselves, a purpose. Like there is a supreme power. So religion is just a way to connect us with that power, to find out what is our purpose of life, to find out our own ways, and what all we could do to serve people. That is all what I've learned from theosophy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I have one more question for you. So what do you think is the greater power? Fear of God or love of God? Anybody?
Can I come in?
Yes,
I
yes.
don't. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying that you don't need a religion. I mean, this word religion has created more wars than anything else. It has created a lot of separation, fights and wars within the house, within the country, within the world. And as Mark said that religion is a opium of wars. I don't have a religion. I never, since my birth, I never counted myself as a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim or anything like that. I'm not a religious person. And yet I know that there's a truth. There's only one self in all of us. It's the same being, B for boundless, E for eternal, I for immutable, N for naturally, and G for glorious. So I'm a being. So if everybody thinks of himself as a being, and you don't need a religion. You have to be helpful, you have to be kind, you have to be honest, you have to be truthful, and everything, all the karma will work towards better things for you. So do good, see good, hear good, and everything should be good for you and every one of us. There should be one Sanatana Dharma. That is what, if you want to say, if you want to have a religion, then have it the original Satyug Sanatana Dharma, the mother of all religions. You find that Christianity, Hinduism, Islamic, all have come from Sanatana Dharma. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitendraji. Yeah, the question is still there. So,
Yes, Smita,
yeah.
if I take the question like which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
powerful, the fear of God or the love of God? First of all, how this religion has been originated, is it originated out of fear or out of love? If you find out this, then you will get the answer. So God is not our supreme something higher power. These are all not lies outside. It all lies inside you. So obviously it is love of God which is more powerful than the fear of God. When there is fear, there is automatically desire comes out for God. So if you have fear, your mind is corrupted. If you have love, your mind is pure, in my opinion. That is my opinion, of course. You have to find out what is powerful by yourself. I can say one more word like similarities are superficial, whereas differences are fundamental. This is a beautiful line. Similarities are superficial, whereas differences are fundamental. Fundamentally, I can show you this being is different from that being, but the well-being is same for this being and that being. That is the similarity. Similarity between you and me is the well-being. So you and me are same, made up of same spirit, same matter. If I say that I can't show you that similarities, but I can show the differences. So that's the reason similarities are superficial, but differences are fundamental. Whereas nowadays these religions have made more differences and it has fragmented the world. So I would like to tell one thing is like this religion should unite the people, not divide the people. Thank you.
I take it as obviously Brother Harnath said that where there is fear, there is no freedom, and where there is no freedom, there is no love. Obviously, love is more powerful, but these days it is very perceptional, it is very individual because, yeah, love of God is for some individuals, in fact, almost of them more powerful, but these days showing, many people, if you won't do this, this will happen. If you don't won't do this, this will happen. Many pundits, gurus, they basically sell projects, sell items to you, sell pujas to you, that you won't do this, so Mangal will be heavy. And so if I talk about the current situation, fear is more there than love. But individually, for myself, love is more powerful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kritika. And yeah, Shruti.
I think when there is love, you do things of your own. Like you are not forced. Whatever you want to do, you do. And if you are yourself, then that is the highest power. When you being yourself and not being forced, like fear. So obviously, love of God is higher than fear of God.
Yes, thank you. So actually, this is the thing. If you will say that if you have love for God, then whatever happens in your life, whatever happens with you, whatever situation comes, you take it as like, I have love for God. I know that what He will do is what is happening. That is because that should happen. That is in the divine plan. And I believe God. So I love God. So I believe Him. That whatever is happening, that is happening for good, for my own good. Or for, but if I have fear, then I'll think that, okay, if I'll not do this, then God will be angry and this thing will happen. I'll think that if this thing is happening because God is angry on me. No. So this is the thing. So obviously, love is more important. So anything anybody wants to say? Shikhar Bhaiya, you want?
No, I think time is almost there. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining, and thanks all the speakers and thanks all the participants to give time. And so we will close the session.
No
with,
announcements, please.
Yeah. So next Sunday, we won't have any classes, and for two Sundays, right? Yeah.
We will not be having the next Sunday meeting because of the Indian section convention is going on 28, 29 and 30 October in Varanasi. So we'll not be having the YIT session next Sunday. After that, the next meeting will be on 6th of November, in which we'll be having the session, which is, I think, the video by Brother Vic Chin, and followed by the discussion. So I think we'll all see you on 6th of November then. So thank you.
Okay. So now we can close the session. So Asato ma Satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we will close the session, and happy Diwali and safe Diwali for you, to all. And we will meet on 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all speakers. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, all delegates. Okay. Happy Diwali. Safe Diwali.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
Okay. Closing the meeting now.